Hello, and welcome to the Office of International Admissions and Programs presentation on transitioning to H-1B from post-completion OPT or STEM OPT. This presentation is intended to inform you, our international F1 students, about the different scenarios that may occur during this transition period. If you have further questions after reviewing these presentations, please contact us at intladvising@uhcl.edu. We are not immigration attorneys and cannot provide legal advice on H-1B matters. This presentation is meant to inform you on how we are involved with the change in your status from F1 to H-1B. Next, we will discuss some general H-1B information. The H-1B application timeline can vary based on what category your employer falls into. The H-1B lottery begins in early to mid-March, and this is where your H-1B registration is completed by your employer online. By the end of March, USCIS will notify your employer of selected registrants. April 1st is the first date that a petition can be submitted by your employer to USCIS. And typically by October 1st of that year, the H-1B will begin if approved. If you are working for a CAP-exempt employer, this includes U.S. institutions of higher education, university-affiliated nonprofit entities, and nonprofit or governmental research organizations. You're not subject to the cap. Please consult with your employer about which category they fall into to fully understand the timeline of this process for you. Some employers request that you provide an updated I-20 to begin the H-1B process. You can submit an I-20 reprint in the ISD portal, but it can take your advisors between 5 and 7 business days to process your request. It is important to note that OIAP has spoken to immigration attorneys regarding the need for an updated I-20 for the H-1B application. They stated that I-20s are helpful for them to understand what type of work authorization you have had in the past to prepare for the H-1B application, but they have confirmed that there is no legal requirement to have them in the H-1B process. We will not expedite these requests for students. It is important that you learn to plan in advance when it comes to your immigration status in the United States, and keep copies of all I-20s that you have ever requested from us or any other institution while you're in the United States. You are eligible for the automatic CAP-GAP extension if you meet the criteria shown on this slide. H-1B registration receipts do not qualify you for CAP-GAP. Your employer must file the petition to USCIS, and you will submit the receipt notice from USCIS acknowledging your petition was filed. Again, H-1B registration receipts do not qualify you for CAP-GAP. A petition asking for consular processing is also not eligible for a CAP-GAP extension. Petitions submitted by CAP-exempt employers are also not eligible for a CAP-GAP extension. Do you need a CAP-GAP employment authorization I-20? Check the chart on the screen to find out. If you need a CAP-GAP I-20, submit the I-20 reprint request in the ISD portal and upload a copy of the I-797 receipt notice for your employer's H-1B petition. Again, H-1B registration receipts and consular processing receipts do not qualify you for a CAP-GAP I-20. If you are in your 60-day grace period following either OPT completion or graduation without OPT when your employer submits your H-1B petition to USCIS, your F1 status is automatically extended. You cannot work, but you can remain in the US through the extension date. CAP-GAP work authorization will end on September 30th, regardless of whether your H-1B is still pending with USCIS. Traveling while your H-1B is pending is not a topic that we will advise you on. We ask you to consult with a qualified immigration attorney or your employer to determine whether this is an option that you should take. H-1B is pending and you've decided that you need to transfer to a new school. This slide will describe some scenarios where you might want to think about transferring out. So if you've received the CAP-GAP extension with work authorization and your H-1B is pending after September 30th, you must stop working. You may remain in the United States after September 30th while the H-1B is pending with USCIS, but you cannot work. Some students choose to transfer to another institution within the United States to maintain their F1 status. You must request this transfer out before September 30th if your H-1B is still pending with USCIS. Remember that OIP takes about 3 to 5 business days to process requests, so request the transfer early. If your H-1B is denied during your CAP-GAP period, for example, before September 30th, your SEVIS record will not be transferred at an active SEVIS status if you're outside of your 60-day grace period after your STEM OPT or OPT had ended. You would have to apply for reinstatement with USCIS or depart the United States. For more questions about when to transfer, please contact your international advisor directly. If your H-1B is approved, submit an immigration status change notification in the ISD portal within 10 days of the official start date of your H-1B. Refer to the I-797 approval notice for the start date of your H-1B. The chart on this page reflects what documents you should submit when you submit the immigration status change notification in the ISD portal. Please notice that students on post-completion OPT, the first 12 months of OPT, and STEM OPT have to submit different documents within the request. Also, you should notice that you will submit different documents based on how the H-1B was approved. For example, were you approved for a change of status within the US, or will you receive your new status through consular processing? Consular processing means that your employer received an approval for you to attend an H-1B visa interview abroad, and you have re-entered the United States with this new visa. Refer to the chart on the screen for what to do if your H-1B is denied. If you are still in your 60-day grace period after your post-completion OPT or STEM OPT has ended when the denial comes through, you might be able to transfer an active status. Please contact your international advisor immediately to discuss options if this is your scenario. Refer to the chart on the screen regarding what to do if your employer withdraws your application. We know it may be awkward to request the official withdrawal acknowledgement from USCIS from your previous employer. However, we cannot correct your SEVIS record if there is something wrong with it without this notice. Please contact your international student advisor as soon as possible if this is your scenario. These are backup plans for students who want to remain inside the United States and won't have a valid EAD card based on post-completion OPT or STEM OPT. Students should prepare for the worst and explore these options prior to the H-1B not being selected, denied, or withdrawn. So for example, students should already have acceptance to an institution prior to not being selected for H-1B or having it be denied. If you have questions about this, please contact your international student advisor directly if this is your scenario. Following is a list of suggested resources for further information on H-1B. Thank you for watching. Please review our other STEM OPT videos or post-completion OPT videos for any topics that you will need to review. As always, you can always reach out to us at intladvising@uhcl.edu for further information. Thank you and have a great day.